It's preparing.
Started.
It's live. We're live now.
Thank you, Shreya. Good evening, everyone, and namaskara from Bengaluru. I am Dr. Prachi Beriwala, Country Advisor, G100 Oneness and Wisdom. November, a month where winter starts. My mine doesn't fog. We get a lot of fog in the morning, in the evening, and it brings something special. So November 19th, we celebrate Men's Mental Health Day, and the entire month of November is dedicated towards that. Now, the question arises, where in the world we are talking about equality, where in the world we are talking about, gender sensitization, where all of us are empowered, why do we still have need to have a month which is dedicated for men's mental health? We all know the answer, because all of us judge men, right? If I talk about various emotions of the men, like, anybody can have like emotions, but when I talk about, like men emotion and how we as a society respond to it, so I think we will get the answer that why we still need a month dedicated to men's mental health, right? See, if I talk about a men, expressing happiness, the judgment of the society goes like this: oh, he accepts everything so easily, such a spineless man. Or in case if the man expresses his anger, so we immediately, put a name to him: what a narcissist behavior, only he knows how to rule over, very mannish, right? Or if a person, like if a man expresses sadness, so we kind of, discourage him that, oh, as a man you are, you can't sulk, be a man. Like that's the way we talk, right? And when the person talks about the fear or the stress, we kind of, put a shame on his masculinity, and we expect that the person has to cope up automatically without any support, right? Or if I talk about the loneliness of man, like a man is not supposed to express loneliness because he's considered to be weak, he's judged, and sometimes he's compared like a woman, aadmi ho ro mat types, right? And when the man tries to express love, we kind of, we don't expect him to express, right? Sometimes we try to control. So men who takes care of their inner world are stronger in the outer world. That's the mentality goes, right? They don't have permission to show anger, tolerance for success driven stress, and there's no space for tear, fear, or anything else, right? And I think that gives the answer to why do we have to have a month dedicated to men's mental health. So here we are with a group of bunch of wonderful people creating slight awareness about and learning techniques for a men how to be stress free, or how to kind of, remove the judgment from their head and lead a happy life, right? So I request everybody to kindly introduce themselves. I'll start from Ananya.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ananya, the country chair of Oneness and Wisdom, G100 Oneness and Wisdom. I'm a nutritionist, a life coach, and a shadow worker. And this has been a very, very close to my heart topic because I always deal with male clients, who very few male clients, very brave male clients who come up and talk about where they are facing challenges. So I would love to add in my point of view to today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya. Dr. Mahi?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Mahi Gupta, and I'm the Karnataka Advisory Council here at G100 Oneness and Wisdom. I am a naturopathy and a yoga doctor, where I'm also the founder of a company or a brand called Cure Essentials with Srijan Varghese, which is all about your health, the healing capacity of the body, inclusive of mental counseling, which we are talking about today. We treat people with various naturopathic therapies like hydrotherapy, mud therapy, and a lot more to go. I'm also a content writer, I'm a speaker, and yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Thank you, Dr. Mahi. Hi, June. Good evening. I'm not sure
Good-
what time zone it is in your
It's
own
morning
region.
here.
Oh, good
Good
morning, June.
morning. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. How about that?
Yeah, that works.
My name is June Smith, and I'm not a therapist, but I am a creator and an artist, entrepreneur and writer. And I sit on the G100 Advisory Council for the USA. And currently, my work is in the arts mainly. I'm very familiar with mental health in a bunch of different ways. I currently have an initiative called Art in June, Delicacies of Society, which is an interesting way of talking to artists about their mental health in all genres, uh, exploring the opportunity of what is happening to them as they're creating. So I'm not really interested so much in their creative process. I'm more interested in what is happening to them as they're creating. And so that has yielded a variety of different things and emotions and interests. And so we'll be launching a podcast about this very information starting January 2026. So pleasure to be here.
Best wishes, June. Thank you so much. Uh, Pratidya, ma'am.
Hello everyone, I am Pratigna Runde from Mumbai, Mother's Army Chair, and personally I am a mindset alchemist, author, speaker, social worker, and I'm just doing one project for all the agriculturist person and all the policemen and army men in this world. So this will be the main topic for all policemen and army men, how men should be emotionally strong, not physically strong.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now let me introduce our chief guest, or I would say special guest. See, it would have been very unfair if we all women talk about men mental health without having a men perspective in that. So I thought, like, why not learn certain techniques which I actually happened to learn recently from Kiran, the breathing technique and the stress relieving technique. So Kiran, over to you, our the guest of honor.
Hi all, my name is Kiran. I teach yoga, but I also work in a corporate. I've written a book recently, working on building an ashram and open a trust so that I can, serve more people. That's what I'm currently working on. Anything else that I have to say, you can ask me the questions. I can say about
And
it.
he also teaches a lot of breathing and stress handling techniques because I have learned it recently, so I can support him in that.
So I've started 21 days yoga challenge where I
Yeah.
teach them basic stretches. I think Mahi would be knowing it. It's in asana, pranayama, mudra. Series one is what I teach. And then a proper breathing technique where I'm feeling everybody at home, at least one person does yoga, they can, control things at home.
Agree. Thank you so much and welcome everybody to G100 Oneness in Wisdom. So I'll be starting my question and I'll be starting my question with Ananya and requesting everybody to keep their answers crisp. Right? So my first question goes like this. Why do you think men across countries struggle to express emotional vulnerability despite increasing awareness about mental health? I think we have been celebrating it for a very, very long time, No Shave November, and so many things have been added to it. But Ananya, over to you. Like, why still there is a, question mark about it?
My feeling and my experience has been that it is the intergenerational conditioning in a man's home or his environment that basically pushes him to be that way, to behave that way in the society. Because he has seen his dad, his grandparents, his grandfather, and then his brothers or society, only appreciating the men who are strong, so called strong, by not expressing their feelings, by not expressing what they really feel or how they should express themselves. And probably for me, I think that is one very big priority where we need to start working on. As parents, we should teach our kids to be vulnerable when they are, at least in front of their near and dear ones. That's from my side.
Agree, agree. Dr. Mahi, over to you.
So as you've just spoken about men's, mental health, first of all, across cultures, they've always been struggling with emotional vulnerability, not because they feel less, but because there's a combination of neurological wiring in their mind, there is cultural conditioning, and there is the modern technological pressure as well, which actually shapes and processes their emotions. So they've always learned to suppress their brain, their emotional well-being. Don't cry, be strong, and over the years, this shapes their brain pathways itself. So we have something called the amygdala that generates emotions in our brain. So they and the prefrontal cortex as well. So that's basically responsible for our emotional language that becomes very under practiced generational wise itself. So this mismatch which happens between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex is where they feel deeply, but they struggle to articulate what they feel. Because when we usually see men actually feel a lot, they don't say it out. As a woman, you can feel it, but there's always a problem with the articulation. And historically, male brains have always evolved for survival, for strength, for decisiveness, and for protection. So they always have this fight and flight system that's always active very quickly, making vulnerability a threat for themselves, rather than a healthy form of connection. So they always felt it that way because, of course, when you're always on the hunt for survival, vulnerability is something which comes later. So that suppression has become a protective reflex in men. And even when it harms them, they continue to do so. And of course, identity, self worth are tied to all of this due to the being the providers, the problem solvers, and vulnerability has always, been an issue with them. I'll definitely maybe talk in the end about a few tips how they could get better.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mahi. I kind of lost network in between. Pratidina, over to you.
Actually, I think because man have been trained to survive, not to feel, but just to show. Yeah, they don't have any emotion, any kind of that things. So maybe that one thing, and other is across culture, boys grow up hearing that be strong, don't cry. It's not you are a girl, you are a female, why you are crying like that. So I think man uh, learn to hide pain like it's crime, it's a big thing, or what people will tell them, what society will tell them. And even today, I think society gives men responsibility but denies them to the right to be a human. They are also human, they are not just men. So the real struggle is not, I think, lack of awareness, but it's lack of safe space where they can share their things. They won't be judged, they won't be labeled or just laughed at for their wounds or their any kind of bad things. Or until we normalize saying I'm hurting without reducing a man's worth, I think vulnerability will stay locked inside their silence. So we just need to unlock that silence. We just need to find out keys to break out their silence. So there will be a more vulnerability. We have to give them that space, I think.
Thank you so much. June, over to you.
And that's interesting. I think I have a little different take on it. I think ultimately, men struggle for so many different reasons. Obviously, I think they're socialized differently. And so because of that, it forces them to be able to worry about having stigmas attached to their thoughts or their value system, right? So I think societal expectations obviously gives them the pressure to feel like they have to tough it out. But also that kind of yields into them maybe, having stress, having chronic fatigue, maybe going into emotional distress using, self-medication, right? And so I think ultimately what's interesting about this question is the fact that I don't think it's only men that actually struggle with this. I think women, there's just a good portion of women culturally who actually struggle with even their mental health and not really admitting and living in denial of that, right? And using prayer as a way to dissect the stigma, and whatever ails them, and not really getting to the root of the matter. So I think it would be interesting to really just look at that. But I also think one of the things that makes me really concerned is the fact that 68% of men in the US are dying by suicide because of mental health. And so I think, when we're having this conversation, it is critical. But to remove the stigma is probably also the bigger task at hand.
I agree, June. Thank you so much. Now I would like to meet you hear something from the only men in the group. Kiran?
See, we have been told from early age, you don't have to. If you cry, you're like your sister. That's how they start from our home. And then you go out and you talk to friends, and then immediately, one of my friend recently got married, like four days back. Wife calls, and everybody starts laughing. The men who are in the group, and he feels very, if talking about mental health, it's the rock bottom. He doesn't know how to react, and this is what is happening right now in the society. Though we speak about it, though we are all aware of it, when it comes to practice, it is way far away from where we stand today. And that's why we cannot openly open up. Sometimes they laugh, and that becomes kind of identity for you.
Yeah, that's I agree because I don't know about other regions, but in India, definitely a man is judged, right? Sometimes we forget that men are not machines; they are also human with emotions, and their emotions also need to be taken care. But that's why we are here, to create some awareness. I think from past many years, every November I have been doing that. Not at G100 Oneness, but wherever I get a chance to. Now, see, we like I know if I talk about like my work wise or personally or maybe sometimes like leisurely, like we all use a lot of technology, right? When I say technology, I'm not talking about like being analytic technology, but it could be social media, it could be AI support, whatever it is, right? So Ananya, I would like to ask this question, like from everyone, starting from you. So do you really think so, like the technology plays any role in maybe supporting men's mental health, or it like harms it more?
Yeah, you are correct. It's both the ways actually. Because initially, not initially, in fact, if we see decades ago, talking about mental health, going to a counselor or therapist used to be a taboo. I mean, people, men, women, irrespective, but men especially, would think twice before going to a therapist or for a counseling. But now technology has actually made it easy, and they can remain anonymous and they can approach any therapist, counselor online. That is the pros or the positive part of it. But the cons, on the other hand, is because we are all, you know, into social media so much that we are scrolling and we are comparing ourselves with the other men, with the other, taking on holidays, behaving, kissing his wife. But this man is not able to express himself so well because not everyone is so comfortable on screen. So, this is the negative effect, I would say. So, technology has played more, I would say, on a negative side than on a positive. Of course, sitting at home, you can get a counseling session or a therapy session, but after the therapy, once you're out, again, you're back on social media. So, again, you're back on that same loop of comparing yourself or thinking yourself to be small. But there's a difference. I meet so many men as friends, as clients, I see the basic is their upbringing. Why I talked about conditioning. Men who are brought up very strongly by their parents, by both their parents, they know how to handle their emotional health, how to regulate their emotions. But the ones who have been compared, who have been always kept at par, their family did not give them the confidence that they needed in their earlier days. Those men always struggle. Even in their adulthood, they are the most struggling people who don't know how to regulate the emotions that they are feeling, or even if they feel bad or they feel comparing, they don't know whom to talk to. So yes, that way technology, I would say, has helped lesser but done harm more.
Okay, it's nice. It's a different version altogether. Dr. Mahi?
Sure. So, as June had mentioned also the fact that even women go through mental health issues. There are men as well. Firstly, one thing that I'd like to put out is technology is something which we use just for a support. We don't completely depend on it, no matter what it is for. It can be AI, it can be counseling, or any sort of thing when we talk about it. And another thing which is very important is your willpower, what you actually think, how you perceive things makes a lot of difference altogether for your mental health as a woman or a man. And when we especially talk about technology, it has a great role of rewarding us. Our brain gets rewarded with dopamine when we use technology or we do something which we like, or when we're always distracted. So it actually rewires the brain more into a danger state than leading it to vulnerability. So technology definitely helps, but it also hurts the same brain, as Ananya had mentioned. So it's a paradox when we talk about it, because on one hand, when you see, it gives men the anonymity, it gives men therapy apps, there's mental health content, there's fitness guidance, global supportive communities, whatnot, which we have right now. But at the same time, it causes very less psychological resistance at a point, and it does not give a very safe emotional outlet for them. And then they just stop getting offline. The endless scrolling, the gaming, or something like this itself leads to the overstimulation of the dopamine, the lowered emotional sensitivity, which is harmful, even more harmful than what they were already struggling with. There's very much reduced motivation, and there's increased avoidance of actually talking about it, or articulating their feelings. So according to me, technology is basically numbing your brain instead of actually trying to feel it, because the dopamine becomes their new comfort zone. But of course, there's a lot of comparison culture, the pressure to succeed, the toxic masculinity spaces, and algorithm driven insecurity itself, which we see, there's being judged and stuff. But we must not be neurologically wired to the technology itself. Of course, counseling sessions which are available online and with doctors and stuff like that is going to help. But again, just trying to go with the trends or follow up on mental health posts and stuff is not going to help.
I agree, because not everything what is shown in the reel is actually true. Like, reel is a reel. It's more of an entertainment thing than of an information thing. What is your view on this, Pratinya?
I think from real, I always say this, especially to student. So now I will say to this to men also. Get out from real to real life. Real is only real. You have to face the real life, because I think technology is not the problem, but it's created the isolation. Create means behind that screen, means on screen everybody is happy, everybody is in a group, but at home you never know, okay, after that scene, that person, may it's a woman or man, that person going to a depression, that person will be a lonely person. So I must say, to all the people, individual, all the human, get out from the real to real life, because means we are consuming more content than real conversation, because not all content are reality on that thing. Many are just created that hoopy and dopamine things to just get, because nobody is posting bad things or sad things or any kind of things that happen to me. Nobody posting I'm got divorced today. Everybody is posting I'm married today, but not posting that. So this is the thing. And take support everyone that connect for healing. But when they harm them, when it replace their identity with algorithm comparison, and every minute everyone is comparing that things, that real things. So I think technology is not the problem. How we used to that technology is the problem. So we should teach all the people how to use that technology, and that everything is comes from the family, from the upbringing, what parents are teaching their child. So I think parents is a more responsible person, not only teacher and mentor are responsible for this.
Yeah, that is also there, but like where in our zamana we had technicalities here. We were born in non-Google era, non-technical era. So I don't think so. Like our mother would have told ki don't use phone or don't use. So I think generation by generation it is getting different, and definitely they are living in their own solace. It is creating a more lonely world, right? Because we are connected more onto the internet than with the people. I agree. June, what's your opinion on this, June?
I think that's a loaded question because I think community is critically important, right? So that's your parents, that's your school, your friends, your mentors, whatever. I think all of that plays a role in terms of how we even want or feel we have to use technology. I think technology is great, and I think it could be harmful based upon how we use it. And I think, when we're talking about mental health, I think there are a lot of digital tools and there are apps that we can utilize to help us do some of the stuff in terms of understanding better. It can be very informative. It can give you early intervention and literacy, right? But I also think it's really about the choices that we make as individuals. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. That's just a reality. So I think in terms of being able to be properly informed and educated, I think it works. I think when we start, as was mentioned previously, when we start comparing ourselves to what folks are doing, then I think it becomes problematic, right? Because our reality is not someone else's reality, and everybody wants to show up in the best possible light. But I also think there are folks out here that are saying they're not okay. I think there are people online that are talking about their mental health, and I think that's kind of refreshing. Whether or not everybody has the courage to do so is a different story. But I think the conversation is being amplified to some degree. And I think the more that we can push these initiatives out, the more that we can be honest and talk about what really is happening in the manosphere, right? Because that's the whole thing now that we're dealing with. You got a lot of men looking at ways to cope with some of their loneliness through fitness and finding ways to make money very quickly, when in actuality, none of that stuff really works if you're not taking care of your mental health. So I think technology plays a really important role in many ways. For many of us, how we decide to use it matters. And when we have people who are not judging us or making assumptions about us, I think it's a little bit easier to navigate that place of healing.
Thank you so much, June, for giving me this perspective. No, that raises another question in my mind. See, we all other speakers, we belong to the same region, right? You are from US. Now, if given a chance to you, what one thing about men mental health you would like to change in global perspective? June, the question is for you.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
So it's
Say that
okay.
again.
So you want
I'm
me to
sorry.
repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. So if you have to change something in the in the global perspective or in the global conversation about men's mental health, what it would be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it would really be getting folks to begin to understand that this is something that is vital to our existence as human beings, right? And I say this all the time. To me, art is oxygen, but so is your mental health, literally. I feel that when you are not mentally balanced, hormonally, for whatever the reason is, I don't think you can function 100% effectively any other part of your body. I think you're not able to maximize your potential. And so for me, that is critically important. If, we go to the doctor, we go to get our teeth done, we go to the gynecologist, we go to the urologist, we do all this other stuff. We don't take care of our mental health. That's the main center of your body and your functioning. So for me, that would be the thing that I would want to push, that people, it's okay to go and say, I'm not okay today. We do it all the other times to every other physician. What is the problem with this? And so that's my push, and that is my why.
Wonderful. June, I agree. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah,
And we are really taking care of, I agree to that, we are really taking care of a physical, like, or maybe an external thing, right? But inside beauty, like I'll just give an example. As a women, we use a lot of product, not men, everybody uses these days. We use a lot of
sure.
product to enhance our external beauty, right?
Right,
But are we
right.
actually acknowledging that internally we are not well? How many of us are actually doing that? We
Yeah.
kind of
So,
ignore it and push it, and, like, push it to the corner. No, 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 I'm fine, nothing has happened and all that.
right.
How many of us are acknowledging? No.
Yeah. You look great. You have a six pack on the outside,
Yeah.
but within you're getting ready to jump off a building.
True.
That's real. That's real. Everybody goes, "Oh my God, she was so beautiful. She was so successful. He was great. What was wrong?" What was wrong is the fact that, they were lonely. They were suffering from major depression and they never really acknowledged it.
Mm.
And so it took over.
Yeah.
So
Agree.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, June. Kiran, like, you have been teaching a lot of techniques, for maintaining mental well-being. And, like, in my conversation with you, you also mentioned about that you have a lot of male clients, who learn from you how to maintain their work-life balance, or how to maintain their stress, like, how to balance their stress imbalance, right? So can you help our viewers today to with certain tips?
So what I usually do, like June said, I go to the root cause. I don't speak about the mental health. Mental health is the disorder that has come because of your activities. If we take care of the basic things, example, hydrate yourself well, take proper sunlight, breathe deeply, and then do what you love to do. This if we take care of this, the mental health is taken care by itself. We don't have to focus on that. And one more thing that I say for especially men is there is something called virya in Sanskrit, semen in English. So the more the semen the men waste, they become weaker, which also impact on the mental health. This is something that I tell men specifically, be cautious about your semen, and that would save a lot of energy. And once that saves, there is something called ojas and tejas. Only it's in not physical, non-physical form, and you work very differently, and your body and mind functions very differently. So I always say, take care of your basics. That's what I don't teach them as specifically as mental health. It's a holistic perspective, asanas, and then comes the pranayama. I'm sure Maya would be able to relate. Prachimam, you'll be able to relate. You have practiced it. We all do deep. Once we do deep breathing, the mind becomes calm and the stress goes off. And I personally feel, though Ananya is a life coach, there may be conversation that happens, but I feel unless and until you practice something, we're not gonna change. If you're gonna keep talking, we'll talk for 24 hours. But change and practice Go take proper sunlight, drink enough water, have good food like fruits. That changes a lot of things within us and around us.
I agree, Kiran. Like I myself can feel the change, like and very small, small things. Like I always believe, I think the big change happens, or the entire things or the entire universe can change only with one step.
Yes.
So we have to take that one single step for ourselves. Now, talking about this, since we are coming to the end of our panel discussion, I will have a rapid fire. Right. So that rapid fire goes around something like I'll follow the same sequence. Something like, the rapid fire goes around something like one habit every man should develop for their mental well being, or for their good mental health. So, Ananya, over to you.
It would be stillness, sitting in silence, and breathe.
Great.
Breathe with stillness. Yeah,
Great.
that would be one habit.
Dr. Mahi?
I think it would be micro vulnerability where they could just tell themselves, okay, I'm not feeling okay. Today I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. Just telling those sentences out every day to yourself.
Okay. Pratidna?
Acceptance, accept as you are, as a person, so that will be helpful.
Wonderful. June?
Taking on the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz is a writer, and he has this book called The Four Agreements. And so I think that it's very simple, but it's very difficult, but I think it's very succinct, which is be impeccable with your word. Don't make personal judgments. Don't make assumptions. And in everything you do, do your best. And I think that brings you in a place of being present and being mindful about how you move. And if you do that, then I think you have no other choice but to be authentic in who you are. And when you're not okay, then you're not okay.
Great. Kiran?
I had stillness, but then I'll go with a laugh. We don't laugh much. So I would say, let's laugh.
That's wonderful. And if you ask me, I would say communicate. You communicate, maybe somebody whom you trust. Maybe you can some search for a counselor. Maybe you can join some like-minded communities, but communicate, because once you communicate, there are a lot of things which gets clear in our mind. Right. So thank you so much, guys. It was such a wonderful learning session. We got to know things from Asia, that's India, and we also got to know the perspective for June living in US. And I'm really thankful to you, Kiran, for agreeing to be part of this
Mm.
panel discussion. Pratidnya, the moment Anu had put it on the group and you said, it was wonderful connecting with you. And
Ma'am,
thank you so much.
I'll take
Yes,
just 1 minute, ma'am.
yes, Kiran,
Girls,
please.
thank you so much for, as a man, it feels so liberating that women are talking about men's health, because you might be a wife, sister, friend, and I'm sure people who are connected with you will be men who are all connected to you will have different experience than the person who doesn't know about it. Thank you so much. It feels so good.
Thank you to you. Yeah, like I have a lot of people as a counselor. I have a lot of male counselees, and yeah, I think with the men around, I keep my communications quite open. That's what I said. See, once you communicate, then it gets easy in your head. So
And
thank you so much, everyone. Happy weekend to all of you,
Thank you.
and stay tuned for our upcoming December event. Thank you so much, and
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Deepal. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Uh, Shreya?